Harry here. On the Winning Mindset program, where we create our warrior teachers, a major part of what we do involves the ability to read and perceive media. This is one of those times. What appears to be an innocuous and somewhat uninteresting statement from the LCR Pride Foundation, in fact, reveals a lot more than I think even the author would want it to do. So I'm hoping you'll stay with me just for a few minutes while I go through this and tell you what I think it says, as opposed to what they've actually written. Then, of course, I do hope that you will, in the comments and everything else, that you will respond and let me know what you think. All right? So let's begin. The LCR Pride Foundation, the organisation that delivers pride in Liverpool and the city's annual March with Pride, has ended its partnership with Barclays. This is significant. Barclays Bank have been a major player, Barclays generally, a major player in the proliferation of gender identity ideology, queer theory, critical race theory, anything to do with EDI, DEI. They are a foundational player. They've been up to their sticky necks in it. They are. Following an extraordinary general meeting, which is called an EGM, held on the Saturday the 3rd of May, the board of LCR Pride Foundation unanimously agreed that it could no longer continue its relationship with Barclays and would end its relationship immediately. So far, so much pablum. The board has since contacted Barclays to express its position and end the partnership with immediate effect. And a statement from the board said, LCR Pride Foundation has ended its relationship with Barclays. We unanimously and unequivocally condemn the statement made by Barclays' chief executive last week with regards to banning trans women from female bathrooms. They do, of course, there mean men. So it should say banning men from female bathrooms and the subsequent actions of the bank. So in other words, what they're saying is we are going to ignore the Supreme Court clarification that sex means sex and that the words woman and man also mean sex in this particular instance for health and safety legislation, as well as to a certain degree under the Equality Act 2010. These actions not only delegitimize trans women and violate their human rights, actually they don't delegitimize trans women and violate their human rights. Trans women are men. Trans women is just a signifier of membership of the LGBTQ plus cult. It doesn't delegitimize anything because there is no such thing as a trans woman. It is just a signifier of a man in a dress or a woman in male clothing or with a moustache who may or may not have violated their body with drugs and surgery. So it has not violated their human rights. They also put them in danger by emboldening those who hold transphobic views. I don't know what they mean by that, but they put them in danger. What do they think we're going to do next? What do they think that those people who are emboldened by this, by their transphobic views, because make no bones about it, they're talking about you and I. They're saying that it puts them in danger from us. They think that we're dangerous to that extent. This is a pride organisation that's meant to represent gay people. They also have a significant and harmful impact on, wait for it, trans men. Again, another signifier. Doesn't exist, it's just women. Non-binary, that doesn't exist at all. That's just stupid people. And here's the kicker. Gender non-conforming people. Now, I've seen this phrase, gender non-conforming people, turn up again and again and again over the last few days. That is a really worrying thing because what you've got there is an example of two things. The first thing is the Mott and Bailey, which is they make a demand or they say something that's quite severe. When you challenge it, they move back and they say, no, we didn't mean that. We meant this. So what they're saying is they didn't mean it to be just trans men, trans women and non-binary, which are the ridiculous notions that we have to accept, the ridiculous naming of these particularly weird groups. No, what they're saying is it also includes gender non-conforming people. So they're saying we also meant gender non-conforming, which have got nothing to do with trans, non-binary cults, whether they're men or women. Nothing, right? Gender non-conforming people, David Bowie, for goodness sake, Annie Lennox. This is an example of not just a Mott and a Bailey. We didn't mean that, right? It's also an example of forced teaming. What they're attempting to do now is to add people who are not part of their cult, but who are gender non-conforming generally, bless them, right? I'm down with that, right? So they can expand who they're talking about is affected by this. It shows an unbelievable desperation. And I think the bleeding of any kind of, what would I say, credibility that they have. And also it indicates to us that they are desperately scrabbling around to try and put this particular stinky fart back in the trans bottom. This not only works against our organisational values and charitable objectives as outlined in our constitution, it also directly harms part of the community that we were established to serve. Here we go, this is clever. It is also directly harms part of the community that we are established to serve. Right, okay. So it's only part of the community now, is it? So it's no longer one community. There are various things within that community. They're preparing, I think, to jettison trans when they need to. That's what I think they're doing there. We'll go back to just doing gay and lesbians. You ain't getting away with that for 1 second. But I could be wrong. I'm saying to you I could be wrong. But it's interesting to see it written down. We understand that the community, there we go, the community, has been waiting for our response. And we would like to thank them for their patience. We want to make clear that our decision on this was immediate and unanimous. But as a registered charity and limited company, that's interesting, isn't it? What are they up to? What are they doing? As a registered charity and limited company, there were steps we were obligated to take before we could make a public statement. LCR Pride Foundation remains committed to working with our community and other LGBTQ plus organisations across the city region to make our region the most LGBTQ plus friendly in the UK. Right? Well, there's no such thing as LGBT. What is it? There's no such thing, right? LGBTQ plus, LGBT, LGBTQIA, LGBTA plus are all the same thing. Neoliberal, hard left, collectivist cult, right? Which sits under EDI and DEI. That's what it is. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with trans, non-binary and gender non-conforming people and work to protect their right to live their authentic lives, happy, safe and free from fear, prejudice and harm. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with trans, non-binary and again, gender non-conforming people. There's nothing authentic about living your life pretending to be something you're not. I think that this may well be signs that the pen is dropping, that they're in serious trouble. But I'll, of course, wait to hear from you. From my perspective, as head warrior of the winning mindset, I think this is hugely significant. This is one of the bigger prides. If we can bring down London, Manchester, Brighton, and with a bit of luck, Liverpool, that will put a dent in the side of this monster that it will never, ever recover from. Thank you very much for watching.